Hey, what's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome to episode number 2 of my F1 2018 mod career mode here for round number 2 at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Guys, if you did miss the opening episode last weekend, be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. And also want to say a massive thank you to the response of that episode. You know, you guys smashed it on the likes, and the comments were always awesome to read through as well. So thank you very much for that, and great to see a lot of you guys were looking forward to me eventually starting this mod career series as we have been doing pretty much every single year for the last 2 years now. So I'm excited, you're excited, so let's just get into this episode number 2. I will say this, unfortunately, after recording the race, as I was recording replay cameras, the game crashed on me, so I'm really sorry, but unfortunately there's no replay cameras for this entire episode, which is really annoying because obviously this is the high edited career mode series on the channel at the moment, so it's annoying not to have that aspect of the video there, but I can't really do too much. That's out of my hands. The game just crashed whilst I was recording those, but it's still going to be a fantastic episode nonetheless, obviously. And after the great start we had at Australia, let's hope for another great race here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Might be a bit trickier. We'll see maybe the true pace of some of these cars as we go to a bit more of a serious circuit compared to the street circuit of the Albert Park around Melbourne. But let's get into the starting grid before we get on to the race. Right, so here we are then for the starting grid of the Bahrain Grand Prix in the second round of the 2018 season, and round number 2, and it's going to be pole number 2 for Lewis Hamilton there, and he leads another front row lockout for the Mercedes boys with Valtteri Bottas joining him on the front row. So the Mercedes guys still showing that their car is the one to beat over 1 lap pace in the race, though it remains to be seen, with Hamilton obviously trying to bounce back after that disqualification from round number 1. The second row sees Daniel Ricciardo and Kimi Räikkönen occupy 3rd and 4th spot, with Sebastian Vettel in 5th and Max Verstappen in 6th. Both these boys familiar with each other at the end of the Australian Grand Prix, fighting over 2nd and 3rd on the podium here. Let's see if another fight will brew. And the next row is all Haas. Romain Grosjean beating Kevin Magnussen once again, but the Haas showing that wasn't just a fluke last time out in terms of their pace. Let's see though if they can convert it to some good points, which was eluding them around Australia. Nico Hülkenberg is in 9th place and Stoffel Vandoorne in 10th, making it into the top 10. So Vandoorne does beat me out, driving as Fernando Alonso in 11th place, but that does mean I will get free choice of tyres. So we'll see what kind of strategy we can do, with Carlos Sainz once again being outclassed by his teammate Nico Hülkenberg in 12th place there. The next row is all Force India once again, pretty much in no man's land, the Force India boys. Sergio Perez and Esteban Ocon 13th and 14th respectively. The next row, Charles Leclerc doing fantastically to go in 15th place, bettering his P16 from last time's qualifying around Australia. Brendan Hartley, the lead Toro Rosso, in 16th place. Pierre Gasly on the next row, 17th, just ahead of the Russian Sergei Sorokin, who does once again beat out his more senior teammate Lance Stroll, and it is Lance Stroll and Marcus Ericsson that take up the last row of the grid, Ericsson being 19th and Stroll in 20th. But that is the grid. Let's go on to the Bahrain Grand Prix. So before we get on to the start of the race, quickly looking at the race strategy then. From P11, we of course get a free choice of tyres, as I said just then, at the starting grid. So we're going to change this round. Instead of starting on super soft tyres, we're going to start on a set of soft tyres and try and do still the same two-stop, but just flip it around, end on the softest compounded tyre, the super softs, you know, lighter fuel, hopefully a bit of rich mix saved up, because we're going to fill up a bit more fuel than when we technically need. Obviously, as we know from round 1, this mod, you know, the car's already thirsty now, so we need to take care of that. Obviously adds a little bit of strategy play to the entire race, which is good, but we do have to be careful of that. But hopefully ending with some rich mix to use on those fresh compound of super soft tyres, and we should be pretty good at the end of this race. It does mean we might have to play a bit of a long game here, but we're going to have some faith and commitment in that to make this work. So let's just get into this then as we go to 5 red lights for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Round number 2 of the 2018 season is underway. The lights are out for 29 laps around the Sakir circuit. It's a good start for us compared to Vandoorne there on the outside. We're going to have to try and just stick with it because we've got nowhere else to go. Sainz is also blocking us off. We try to go around the outside and follow Nico Hülkenberg, but some contact has been made there, and it's the Toro Rosso of Brendan Hartley through turn 2 who comes out of nowhere in a flash, and he's got there in P11 now from P16 on the grid, remember. So absolutely stonking start then from Brendan Hartley. We sent it back down the inside then of Carlos Sainz to try and retake 12th place at least, but we've had a pretty shocking start actually into turn 1 as a bit of ping pong rise there with Vandoorne hitting my rear end there on the right hand side of our car, and we're still going side by side with Carlos Sainz, our fellow countryman, to try and overtake this into the hairpin. Then going to try and open up the steering wheel. You can see squeezing him out, looking on the mirrors there on the left hand side, and we've got that place. Sainz tucks in behind and we're back up into 12th, but we're still not back up to our grid slot P11 because that is taken up by the Toro Rosso Honda of Brendan Hartley. But obviously with the Honda engine versus our new Renault power in the McLaren, we should hopefully be able to get this in a straight line pretty easily. Not to the downforce should be pretty different for the Toro Rosso to McLaren. So here we go, sending down the inside, and that's going to be a pretty damn easy pass. Good traction on the exit, and we're back up into our grid position then of P11. You can see the amount of time we lost there fighting with Hartley and having to re-overtake Sainz as well as Van Dorn is way down the road, and he's now trying to make a move on Hulkenberg into turn 1 of lap 2. A bit of contact is made there on the entry point into turn 2. Hulkenberg will cut the corner a little bit. Van Dorn on the outside, more wheel banging there between Stoffel and Nico, and Hulkenberg looks like he's going to have to tuck in. Yes, he just doesn't have the legs, and Van Dorn is up into P10. So now can we try and overtake, or P9 I should say, sorry, as Hulkenberg's now down to P10. Can we try and get him, as Hulkenberg looks to be going very slowly now after being overtaken by Van Dorn, so somewhat flustered perhaps. So we're right up his chuff, but just can't make it work for now. I'm going to have to wait, you can see, to the hairpin, very eager and good on the brakes, and we almost slammed to the back of him and break a bit of our front wing. Thankfully not, as I locked up enough to slow the thing down. So as we get to about halfway through lap 2 then, this has been a very slow start to a Grand Prix by mine standards, but Hulkenberg locks up into that very tricky left-hander. It's so easy to lock the front left, and Hulkenberg has done just that, and so we've got a good enough exit there. Bit of a switchback move effectively, as Hulkenberg was parking on the right hand side, so I had to switch to the left there, and we've made that, and we're up into P10 finally. So thank you very much then to the Renault boys, and we've dispatched both of them now, and now it's about chasing after our teammates off Van Dorn. It's easier said than done though. Remember, he's on the super soft tyres, I'm on the softs, and so although we got initial good getaway off the 5 red lights, you saw there Van Dorn feeling pretty nippy. He's already on the back then of the next car along, which I think is one of the Haas cars of Kevin Magnussen. We've moved on all the way to lap 4, so it's taken us quite some laps, and we're still not even really right up Van Dorn's gearbox to make a move here. So just showing that despite, you know, my best efforts to try and close him up, you know, the fact I'm on the soft tyres is going to be a bit of a, you know, downer in terms of me making some of these passes. And now Van Dorn goes side by side with Kevin Magnussen. Now both of them slow each other up, so this is maybe where we can make the move, as Van Dorn cuts the corner quite badly there. He slowed himself down, and here we go now. We're going to overtake one car. Can we try and take 2, as Magnussen is slow as well? We're going to chop in on the left, and it's a lovely little move to the left hand side to take the racing line, and we effectively skate around the outside because the grip was starting to lose a little bit on the back end there, and we're up into P8. So actually from what went from a very slow start in the opening 2 laps, lap 5 we got 2 moves done in pretty much one tiny little bit of the straight in one corner there. Lovely stuff, and we're up into P8, and so now we can try and chase after Grosjean, but again, that's going to be quite tough. I think Grosjean definitely has the better pace than Magnussen between the 2 Haas cars this afternoon. You can see ahead of Grosjean, the rest of them, obviously the main culprits, the top 3, Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, they're looking very good. So this is pretty much the point of the race where, like I said at the very start, we need to be patient and kind of just have faith in this long-term play of starting on these tyres being the way to go. You can see Grosjean comes in the pit, so we're up into P7, and I am assuming that you can see there Verstappen, and then you've got one of the Mercedes cars, and then the Ferrari. They're all going to come in sooner or later on the next couple of laps. Lap 7 onto lap 8, we've got Hamilton in then, so Bottas is the one that stays out. Verstappen is staying out for now as well. Looks like maybe the rest of them then are going to stay out for 1 or 2 more laps. So as we move on then to lap number 9, you can see on the mini-map there, Vettel is in, Bottas in, Verstappen is staying out, along with, I think that will be probably then Kimi Raikkonen. And it's pretty much this phase of the Grand Prix and this phase of the stints where every time the AI are going to come in earlier than me, I need to drive as well as I can to not lose too much time as my tyres start to wear out to their obviously more durable stint length there. But as you look at the top left, quite funnily enough, it almost looks like a bit like my driver for Verstappen and Leclerc either side of me on the time standings, of course, but Leclerc being in a bit of a slow Sauber Alfa Romeo, I doubt he'll be troubling us this afternoon as we move on to lap 10 then, and finally everyone is Raikkonen's in, Verstappen's in, and we're up into first place. So now we've had clean air the entire time. Yellow flags though, as someone's out and parked up. I don't think that's anyone particularly of interest to us. I think that's Marcus Ericsson then in the other Sauber Alfa Romeo. So we've got plenty of clean air. So as I said, we just do the best job we can as Hamilton sets us up the Grand Prix. And you saw there in the bottom right, our tyre wear is pretty bad. So we've just got to do the best job as I said, to not lose too much time on this in-lap effectively. And I think we did a pretty solid job, if I do say so myself. So we come in now, and now's where we get to see if we've done a good job, because if we come down the pit lane, we'll strap on another set of soft tyres, and then we keenly and eagerly look towards the mini-map then, and the top left, and kind of just brace ourselves to see how many positions we're going to lose as Vettel sets fast out the Grand Prix. So the Ferrari guys are looking pretty damn good, because Vettel set a purple lap time in the first stint as well. So Vettel definitely on it like a car bonnet to try and chase down the two Mercedes cars, who I think were still leading the Grand Prix. But as we come out of the pit lane then on lap 11, we're still sandwiched between Magnussen and Romain Grosjean then, but we've not lost the place to Magnussen, which is pretty crucial for us in terms of look at the amount of clean air we've got now to go chasing after Grosjean. And remember, Grosjean pit on lap 7, I think it was, so he's been on those tyres for a couple of laps now already, so we'll have the pace to close up on him. And actually, Grosjean pits on lap 13 onto lap 14, so a very, very early second pit stop for the Frenchman in the Haas. So you can see there clearly him going early and being on the super soft tyres really hasn't helped his strategy in terms of he's had to go very early for the second stint. So that just gives me more free air, and this entire time I am gaining on Verstappen and these lot as their tyres start to wear out now until lap 16. My soft tyres are only 5 laps into their stint, remember, and they're soft tyres, so they can still go a comfortable another 5 laps, whereas now these guys start to come in already for their second pit stop. So this is where now I'm going to gain the most time in terms of the first stint was about damage limitation of just keeping up with everyone else on a slower compounded tyre. Now's this stint where we're going to catch the most time, I think, on cars, as now we're still doing decent lap times, but the rest of them were losing time right at the end of their stints as they come on now to medium tyres in the case of Sebastian Vettel. And I just know generally the medium tyre is pretty bad around Bahrain. It's never been a very comfortable tyre for myself personally, at least, so I'd like to think maybe the AI don't go so well on them as well, but obviously they're AI, they're very consistent on their tyres. But anyways, if we go through the laps then onto lap 18, we've got a few more people into the pit lane then, and so that's going to be Raikkonen in on medium tyres as well, and so both Ferraris opting for the mediums. It looks like most of these guys will opt for the medium tyres then, so that might be doubly great for us in terms of the last stint on super softs. We'll be on two compound softer on that last stint, and with a pretty light car. And this entire time I haven't been putting up into rich mix too much. I've been very economical with my fuel, trying to save it all for the last stint, so trying to play this as tactically as I can, embracing Fernando Alonso, the man we're driving as. I feel like he would be very tactical in the way he's saving the fuel maybe for the end to really fight, and you know when to fight. When you're that experienced in Formula 1, you know when to pick your battles really. So I think we're trying to pull the most wily old fox kind of strategy we can here in the McLaren that is struggling for a bit of downforce compared to the top guys for sure. And you can see there Hartley is having issues now, so from such a great start to the Grand Prix then, from P16 up to P11 at one point, Hartley now is having issues in the Toro Rosso Honda. But you can see we're in first place now as everyone has made their pit stop, and now it's finally time for us to make our final pit stop now. 9 laps to go, super soft tyres. We've got plenty of fuel left in the tank, I think, and we'll be able to use that rich mix down the straights. And so now is the time where the fun begins for us. Now we try and push as hard as we can, and you can see on the top left, Vettel at the moment looks to be in first place of the Grand Prix. So Vettel leading the way in the Ferrari, so looking very, very good. But most of these guys, apart from Ricciardo and Grosjean, it looks like all these guys are on medium tyres. Verstappen's on mediums, and crucially, Verstappen might just be behind us as we come out the pit lane into turn 1. And yes, we are just ahead of Max Verstappen. He's still trying to poke a nose in there. We leave him the room into turn 2, but we do stay ahead. So look at that. We've jumped Romain Grosjean and Verstappen in that second stint by doing some good lap times on the soft tyres. We come out ahead of them, and now we're in P6 instantly, and it could be more, because now, as I said, now's the time to push. Clean air ahead of us, better tyres. Ricciardo seems to be the only man ahead of us on soft tyres, everyone else on mediums, so me and Ricciardo will both be hoping to close rapidly on the rest of the guys on mediums. So here we go, let's just see what we can do. Moving on to lap 23, sticking the car up into rich mix on the main straights to gain the most time we can in straight line. You can see the personal best lap time has come out there, and we are going as fast as we can to try and close up to Daniel Ricciardo, who is just up the road there. You can see it flashed across our screen as he goes through on the exit of turn 3. That is just the distance there, but we are gaining every single lap. I can see him getting closer, and more crucially, the cars ahead of him, I believe the 2 Mercedes cars and Kimi Räikkönen's Ferrari, they're all getting closer and closer, so that entire train is bunching up, and if they bunch up, they're going to start fighting, and if they start fighting, they're going to start losing some more time. So let's keep faith here. Never say never in Formula 1. You can always get it towards the last lap of the Grand Prix. There might be some moves on offer. You can see there the two Mercedes cars are pretty much nose to tail. And I think they're going to go side by side in the distance. I'm trying to squint my eyes to see. Unfortunately, this is how painful not having replay cameras is. I can't see what's going on there. I think the two Mercedes cars had a little bit of a tangle there, and they've slowed each other down. And Raikkonen is right up the chuff of Valtteri Bottas. I think that is, or it might be Lewis Hamilton. Can't tell from here, obviously. But Ricciardo is now right up the chuff of Raikkonen as well. And now look at this in the hairpin for the first time ever. I'm so close. I can practically start sniffing Ricciardo's rear end there. So now as we move through into the last corner on towards the last lap of the Grand Prix, we've got some fuel to burn. And now at the perfect point, looks like Ricciardo might be getting enough DRS and Raikkonen might be getting enough DRS to make a move on some cars, and that's when they're going to get slowed down. A long-term play of starting on the soft tyres has all been up to this, because now we have the advantage into turn 1. And Mercedes go side by side. Hamilton is defending from Valtteri Bottas. Bottas round the outside of turn 2 to try and get second place in the Grand Prix. Kimi's going to try and make it 3 wide there, I think, just nearly. Yes, he does. Kimi on the inside, Bottas in the middle, Hamilton on the left. Ricciardo's boxed in behind Bottas as we go towards the apex. We're going to try a switchback move, a little bit of oversteer there, and we just can't get the traction down to try and find a place round the outside of Ricciardo and into the S section. Raikkonen still side by side with Hamilton, and I'm just sitting here trying to suss out where I can find some space. Here we go, down the inside of Ricciardo to finally find some room to even make any kind of move there. We're up into P5. Could it be P4 or P3 even, as those two still go hammer and tong? Raikkonen gets squeezed out by Hamilton, and Hamilton is going to keep P3. Looks like Bottas is safely into P2. Raikkonen though with DRS. I've got DRS, so we might both still be able to attack Hamilton. Can we close up enough on Raikkonen? We can just about, but not enough to make a move on the inside there. So do we have anything left in the tank here? We've not got too much fuel left. We're in standard mixture now, but do we have enough tyre wear left? Enough in these tyres to make a move? It's going to be Sebastian Vettel that goes across the line very early compared to all of us to win at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Bottas second, Hamilton third. Could we make this a last gasp 4th place? We're going to go for it on our old former Ferrari teammate there from 2014, the last time, down the inside in the final corner, and we will make it P4 at the Bahrain Grand Prix. A very noble effort there by us as Fernando Alonso. Very happy with that result, and we're able to get Kimi there just in the last corner. Clearly going very slowly. A lot of tyre wear hit him there at the end there. We had to go for it, and he had nothing to defend for. If he had some tyre wear left, he would have for sure defended a little bit harder than that, but he didn't, and we made it count. And down the inside, I mean, I think, you know, hindsight, we maybe could have got even more aggressive, and maybe could have even got Hamilton, but the thing was, I just didn't know where to find the space, especially when they went 3 wide. That was just amazing to see in front of me anyway. But you could see Ricciardo was also boxed in. He didn't know where to go. I didn't know where to go. I tried to make something happen on the switchback move, but I didn't. I then lost the rear end a little bit, so it was a very tough situation there. You know, having 5 cars so close together is so tough on what is quite a tight circuit in some of these sectors. So tough going there, but still, P4 is a hell of a result from the McLaren-Renault boys. And you know, from where we started, you know, down to P12, a very slow start to the Grand Prix. Really fantastic ending, but there you go. Sebastian Vettel is your winner of the 2018 Gulf Air Bahrain Grand Prix. Bottas second, Hamilton third. So the Mercedes guys get some constructors points back, but ultimately I think Ferrari will still be on top there, but Vettel now being the one on top. So Hamilton still yet to convert one of those pole positions to a win. Of course though, he'll just be happy he's on the podium with 15 points rather than 0 from being disqualified from the Australian Grand Prix. So after round 2, the driver standings look like this. You can see Bottas and Vettel equal on points now, so already uber close in the championship. Raikkonen third there, followed by the 2 Red Bull cars, and we're still right up there in the mix. Obviously at this stage of the season, it's way too early to call what on earth our aims are, as I said in the first episode, but hopefully in the future though, I'd like to think with some upgrades on the car that we won't have to pull off some very long-term plays, and that we can actually just have the raw pace and be on the same strategy as the AI to try and fight with the McLaren. But obviously it's early days. We're still trying to make sure we just stay ahead of Haas and Renault. And I must say, looking at the constructors, you must say that Renault have got very unlucky twice in this race. Obviously both of them had issues in the first Grand Prix, and the second one they got squeezed out very early on by myself and Van Dorn, and then obviously the Haas cars were just there to kind of, you know, defend the top 10 position. So Renault very unlucky, but also at the same time, I mean, if you think the top 3 are the usual 3 suspects, that's P1 to P6, then you've got the 2 Haas cars, and then at the moment it's been a toss-up between me, Van Dorn, you know, Sergio Perez was there last Grand Prix, so it's very tough. You know, those last 4 spots in the top top 10, 3 spots even, are very, very tough to come by. And so that's going to be a big, big fight for all of us in the midfield there, in that midfield scrap. So guys, if you have enjoyed that episode, smash that like button, guys. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you are new around here, do get subscribed for weekly full-on content. I've been Aarava. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and I will see you guys next time.